Hi there. I thought I'd put together a bit of a short video just to position the Park Avenue Residences project. To begin with, we probably need to understand that it's in the Southeast Queensland Regional Plan area, which is effectively the area from the Tweed River to Noosa. This area is the planned area for the expansion of the Queensland population base and can be seen more clearly on this particular map, which is the map prepared by the state government and stamped in July 2009. The various numbered areas of various plans and detail where the government has decided that the population increases between now and 2030 will be mainly distributed. The Southeast Queensland coast is made up of all this space, as you can see, but it's really only made up of two beach strips, which is from Caloundra here to Noosa, Noosa to Caloundra, and south we have the strip between Main Beach, which is when the waterways end. We have that going all the way down to, that's the Tweed River, becoming New South Wales. So effectively in southeast Queensland there is two main beach strips, which is the Tweed River to Main Beach, which is obviously the city of the Gold Coast, which you can see there, and also the Sunshine Coast, which is from Noosa to Caloundra. Here on Google Earth you can see what we're talking about. That's Moreton Island. Brisbane sits in here. Tweed River is here. That's that Gold Coast beach strip. You can see that development part. And then Caloundra starts here and moves up to Noosa. So we'll head into Park Avenue Residences and where it's actually located specifically. As you can see, the Park Avenue Residences is part of this particular project, which is known as Peregian Springs, which is a residential development undertaken by FKP, which is an Australian publicly listed company. It sits nestled about 3 kilometres to the beach and is surrounded by mostly national park, undeveloped. The only portion of land that's been earmarked for development in this particular corridor is this little piece here. Now, putting that a little bit more in perspective, it's about 10 kilometres as the crow flies from Noosa. This is Noosa Main Beach, and it is 11.4 kilometres from Noosa. Further, it's about 3.5 kilometres to the beach, and beach access is via this pedestrian access road here. Now, the most important thing about the position of this project is that it sits in the parcel of the Sunshine Coast, which is the north shore of the Sunshine Coast. Effectively, the Sunshine Coast is broken up into two regions. One is north of the Maroochy River and one is south of the Maroochy River. South of the Maroochy River was developed in the 50s, and as you can see, the density south of the river is a lot more dense and has been a lot more developed than north of the river. North of the river has been usually kept for resorts. There's a Hyatt Regency Coolum, there's Noosa, there's the Twin Waters Resort, there's quite a few good golf courses, and here is the Sunshine Coast Airport, which they're about to start to expand the east-west strip for more international flights. That's actually on advertising now. Interestingly, this airstrip, the passenger through in 2003 was 45,000 passenger movements a year, and in 2009 it was over 1 million passenger movements a year. Since then, the state government has funded quite a lot of this new road infrastructure, as you can see here, to enable that aerodrome, airstrip, to become more significant in the economic development of the Sunshine Coast, which generally takes place in the southern part of the Sunshine Coast. If you have a look down here at Caloundra, all this land out here has been earmarked in the South East Queensland Regional Plan for development over the coming 10 years. Up to about 90,000 residences. In this Nicklin Way, Minyama, Kawana Lakes area is where the state government has decided to put the new major hospital. Now, one of the keys to this is that in these plans, we want to have a look at what the planning regime is going to have, how it's going to have an impact on value. Now, here we go again, the South East Queensland Regional Plan off the government website. This here is plan number 4, which shows you the amount of development they have earmarked over the next 20 years for the Noosa to Maroochydore area. Now, if I zoom in on this plan, you can actually see that they have earmarked these pink parcels. That is the extent of the land that is able to be developed on this particular plan. That's the Lake Waber, and this here is Peregian Springs, and that is the extent of the land supply north of Maroochy River. It's the aerodrome. So to put that into perspective, that beach strip is about 26 kilometres long. Take another look at this particular strip. This strip is the Gold Coast. This particular strip is 21 kilometres long. Obviously the Gold Coast has very tall residential buildings to make way for that population growth. At the moment, the Gold Coast is suffering from an oversupply of residential product and still has a certain amount of supply to come with the very dense planning regime. This here is the part of the South East Queensland Regional Plan to the south of Maroochy River. There is the Maroochy River there. Here is the land that I spoke of earlier, which is where they're putting all that extra development down around Caloundra. A lot of activity in here, a lot of economic activity here, which will really drive the Sunshine Coast economy over the next 10 years. This part of the Sunshine Coast basically looks like the Gold Coast looked about 10 years ago. The anomaly they're creating, though, with the restriction on development north of Maroochy River, as we can see, is that basically what they're saying is from Mooloolaba to Caloundra, they're going to really drive economic activity, hospitals, and develop the economy dramatically with the expected population growth. What they've decided to do from Maroochy River to Noosa, however, which is this strip, is they're basically restricting development extremely. North of Maroochy River represents about 30% of the white sandy beaches of South East Queensland. And they've only allocated enough land or development area to accommodate about 1.5% of the population. So effectively 1.5% of the population is going to be enjoying 30% of the beach life down this strip. Over the next 10 years, it means this strip here is going to become very, very exclusive real estate as the economy just south of the river starts to drive the employment. At a more